Hello my friends, Paul here in the RoJoBe Music Workshop, and welcome to part 2 of the classical guitar minor restoration, refurbishment if you prefer. So in the the first video, I stripped it down, took all the strings off and did an initial inspection, first of all with the tap test to see if there were any loose braces, and I did detect one. And upon using my mirror with the light, had a look inside, and I found that one of the braces running down the body was loose at the end. So you can see I've got it clamped up. It's been glued and clamped for a couple of hours now, so it should be good to go. But how did you get the glue in there, I hear you ask? Well, with this. I modified a paintbrush, so I basically just heated it up and put a couple of bends in it, and that allowed me to get in and under and then over the brace and then into the gap where the other brace was coming away. And yeah, so it's been clamped up for a while, so let's just get the camera set up and we'll take a look at what's going on. Okay, so how's that look? Yeah, that's good. Just put the other light on. There we go. Okay, so I'll remove this clamp now. It should all be good. And obviously I've got a leather pad on top of the guitar there to protect it. Now, I also had to put a block of wood on this side of the clamp to bypass the big brace going across the middle there. Okay, so that worked rather well. So the moment of truth now, I'll just grab my mirror, take a look inside and make sure that that fix is good. Going to need my glasses for this operation. So what I did, first of all, with this brush, I went in the gap between the brace and, you know, where it had come away. Went in with the brush dry to try and get out any dust and dirt and debris that was in there. Managed to pull a little bit out. Then I put water on the brush and then put that inside the gap. Now the reason for that is when you put the glue in there, if it's already damp, that, you know, with water it will help the glue to actually wick inside the gap, because the glue is quite viscous, quite thick, and it doesn't, you know, run easily. So if you put a little bit of water in the glue joint first, it will help the glue to seep in there easier and deeper. So let's have a look, see what that looks like now. Absolutely perfect. And I can see that the glue got all the way through the gap to the other side. So that fix was successful, perfect. I'm very, very happy with that. I'll just double check. I'll look on both sides of it. I mean, I know that you can't see what I'm doing or what I'm looking at, but it really was only sort of 1 inch to 1.5 inches of the end of the brace that was coming away, and I managed to get plenty of glue in there and cleaned up the excess. Got it all clamped good, and that's good to go. So that's perfect. Nice. Okay, so the next stage now is to get this thing cleaned up, because it really is in quite a sorry state. I didn't really show you properly on camera from the first video, and you can't really see it too well, but I mean, you know, there's a lot of dust and muck everywhere, and the fretboard is in a horrific state. And the tuners, actually that's the tuners before I cleaned them, and on the other side I've cleaned them just with a bit of WD-40. Now they really don't look any different, but I don't necessarily want them to. I don't want them to look shiny and brand new. It'd look ridiculous on this old guitar. So, you know, I used a bit of WD-40 and an old toothbrush just to sort of clean up the gears and, you know, get off any sort of old grime or anything. I'm not worried about the rust, because that's part of the patina of this old instrument. I don't want them to look shiny and brand new. I want them to look old and used, but I want them to work properly. So I've done one side, I'll do the rest of that later. really what I want to do first is clean up this fretboard, because as I said, it is in a sorry state. I've taken the nut out so I don't lose that, and I've got that in my little holder here. And incidentally, I showed in the first video how this nut is double-sided. It's got two sides to it, and it's kind of a, I don't know why you can see that, it's kind of a diamond shaped, so that when you put it into this slot, it's at the right angle. And on closer inspection, as I said, I'm pretty sure that one side, the slots are slightly smaller than the other, to obviously allow for different gauges of strings. But one other thing I noticed, I don't know again if you can see that, but on one side, this top side, the spacing of those slots is further apart than this side. These ones are closer together. Now I'm not quite sure what the purpose of that is, to be honest. As I said, I've not seen a nut like this before. They are a really good idea, I've got to be honest. Saves having to make a new nut if you put different gauge strings on. So that's a really, really cool feature. I really like that. So I'll just put that to one side again. So how am I going to clean this fretboard? Well, I've got this abrasive pad. I'm not sure what grit that is. It's probably, it's hard to say, about 240 I guess, which might be a little bit coarse. But this fretboard, as I said, is in a pretty rough state. So I'm going to use this first of all to go over all of the frets, to clean the frets. Actually, let me just show you this. I've cleaned the first fret. Okay, you can see that nice and shiny against the other frets. The first fret here, I've kind of cleaned that up already and sort of polished it. And you can see the difference between that first fret and the rest of the frets. So that's what I'm aiming for. So this abrasive pad will be to clean the frets first of all, and I've also got some wet and dry sandpaper. I've got 1500 and 7000 grit to final polish these frets. So I'm going to go over all of the frets. I'm not worried about any scratching or scoring on the fretboard, because I'm going to be doing some work on that as well. So this is a much faster way of doing it, so let's get cracking on that. So literally just going backwards and forwards over the frets, being careful not to, mark the finish of the guitar. Oh, these really are grimy. Let's go across the other way as well. Wow. Yeah, they're a mess. As I said, I will be, working on the fretboard itself as well afterwards, so I'm not worried about any marks on there at this stage. Wow, they're going to take some work. I mean, this guitar and the fretboard in particular clearly haven't been cleaned in years, and this is one of the driest and thirstiest fretboards I have ever seen. This is desperately in need of an oil. I've no idea what age this guitar is, it's hard to tell, and it's certainly not a high-end brand. The brand name is Abe Gut, A-B-E, and then Gut, G-U-T, probably Chinese. And the number is 310, which is the same as the kind of entry-level Yamaha acoustic guitar. So I'm not sure if that's relevant, whether it's kind of a copy of that kind of level or not, I don't know. I mean, it's certainly not an expensive guitar, this one, but it seems alright. My God, these frets are a mess. Yeah, clearly haven't been cleaned in many years, quite possibly ever since it was new. And as I said, I have no idea how old this guitar is. It could be just a couple of years old, it could be 10 years old, 20, I have no idea. But it's in some serious need of some TLC. And just cleaning it will make it look so much different. so much different. And as I said, this fretboard is really, really dry. Desperately in need of some oil, but obviously I've got to prepare it first, and the first job is trying to get years worth of DNA off of these frets. I mean, it's actually destroying my my abrasive pad, so because I'm having to really give it some elbow grease, but it's got to be done. You can't leave it like that. It's horrific. So they're coming up all right. It's just yeah, see, these are some of the dirtiest frets I've ever seen. It's never taken me this much effort before to clean frets. Yeah, never had to work this hard on frets before, just cleaning them. And I'm certainly not going to give this a fret leveling. I did check down the neck when I first had the guitar in, and it looks okay, it looks good enough. I mean, it's not, well, people are going to fight me on this, but I would say that on a classical guitar, the level of the frets isn't quite as crucial as a steel string acoustic guitar. As I said, fight me in the comments if you disagree. But I've generally found that the action, the height of the strings above the fretboard on a classical guitar tends to be a little bit higher than an acoustic guitar, a steel strung acoustic guitar. So that to me would suggest that, you know, the levelness, if that's a word, of the frets isn't quite as crucial, or isn't as important. But yeah, these are by far the worst frets I've ever had to clean, by far. And I'm not sure what they are. They're probably nickel frets. They seem kind of soft. Certainly not steel, that's for sure. Jeez. Yeah, as I said, I know I said it, but I've never had to work so hard before at just cleaning frets. This is a nightmare. Okay, that's not too bad. Actually, this could have probably done with being a bit more abrasive for this, but I don't want to go too mad with abrasion. Well, how's that looking? Not too bad. A lot better than they were, that's for sure. Right, so I'm going to go over now with the 1500 grit wet and dry sandpaper, dry. I don't want to use any more water than necessary on this guitar. And already I can see that making a big difference. So this abrasive pad was just to get the majority of the grime off the frets, and this will, you know, finally clean and polish them. Much better. Much better. Let's put that a bit more. Oh yeah, much better. Much better. Jeez, time's going fast. Okay, that should be enough. Okay, so I'm going to go over it now with the 7000, which, you know, give it a real final polish, get them nice and shiny. Yeah, they look much better now, already. I mean, to be fair, a lot of that's off the actual fretboard, not the frets, although some of it is. one. Yeah, that's a lot better. Right, so that's the frets themselves cleaned. See, the first one is still slightly better, but they're all much cleaner than they were. Let's get rid of all that. Okay, so the next part is to actually clean the fretboard itself. Now, what I did here is I get a single-edged razor blade and literally scrape across, well, up and down the fretboard to clean off all the gunk and, you know, level out any uneven wood surface. And I've done the first one, and compared to the rest, I mean, those feel like tree bark, and this one is really nice and smooth. I'm going to do that one again anyway with the blade that I used. So you literally you go up and down the grain, not across the grain, and this is a flat fretboard. It's not radius, so I don't need to worry about, you know, taking any of the radius out by doing this. And I've taken the nut out so that I can go right up to the end of the fretboard there. And what I noticed about the different coloration on, you know, different parts of the fretboard. Let's just turn that round. Yeah, so there's different coloration, and what I've discovered is that the lighter coloration here is the natural colour of this wood, and it's been stained on the top. Someone's obviously the manufacturer, well, I assume the manufacturer put wood stain over the top to darken the wood. Which in my opinion is not necessary. I mean, a guitar with a light coloured fretboard looks absolutely fine, and if it's prepped properly, i.e., you know, something like this, and then proper oil, you don't need to stain it. Okay, so same thing with all the between the frets on the fretboard itself. Yeah, much better already. And then once I've done all of it, I won't do it now, but I'll just show you what I'm going to do. Taking the corner of the blade, I'll just go right up against the fret and just get out all the gunk between the fret and the board. Right up in the corner there. The same on this one. Okay, so those first two now are nice and smooth compared to the rest. That one needs a little bit more. Okay, so you can see what I'm doing there. I'm not going to film all of this because it will take a little while. And I'm going to get a brand new blade to do the rest of it, because that's gone a bit dull. I might even use 2 or 3 blades on this. So as I said, I'm not going to film the rest of that. I'm going to pause the video right now and bring you back when I've done all that to show what I'm doing next. Okay, so for you it'll be a mere microsecond. For me it could be however long. Oh, how do I pause this then? That one. Okay, welcome back. As I said, for you it's a mere second. For me that's been probably a good 20-25 minutes. Okay, so I finished cleaning up the fretboard and polishing the frets. It's difficult to see, but I think you can see it looks a whole lot better already. Okay, so the next stage is to actually clean the guitar itself. Okay, so all I'm going to do first of all is just get a clean cloth and make it damp, not wet, just damp. So just get a spray bottle, spray a bit of water on the cloth. So I don't want it soaking wet. And I'm just going to basically, oh, there's my water, wipe over the whole thing. Just get off as much dirt and grime as I can without, you know, going through the finish or anything nasty like that. So headstock, the neck. As I said, this cloth is just damp. It's not wringing wet or anything. You saw me just spray a bit of water on it. Okay, so the back. Yeah, I mean the finish is quite oxidised and milky in places anyway, so I'm not going to go mental with this. I just want to give it a wipe with clean water first, and then a light polish just to make it look a little bit better. So just a drop more water. Do the sides.